I've talked about this before, but you really have to spend quality time with your tomatoes.
So, you know the best part about pruning tomatoes is you end up smelling like a tomato plant all day. I absolutely love it. I smell like I could be like put on a pizza, and that's phenomenal.
So Junior's accusing me of harassment because I have a pet peeve. And what's my pet peeve?
Leaving this in the sun.
Leaving what?
Lithium batteries.
Leaving lithium batteries in the sun and letting them get hot.
I was on my way to come get it.
So that's what Bermuda looks like when it germinates. The real mowers are designed to follow the ground. Keep your hands from putting weight down on them. That's why a lot of times I try and train people to actually do, instead of like this and grip, actually put your hands backwards so that you're not pushing down. I prune mine really hard. So earlier this year, it was solid green and bushy. We took all the green off the bottom, number one. So another tip I'm going to give you is about feeding in the summertime. If you've got warm season grass, they call it warm season grass because it likes the heat. Tell everybody why you're soaking wet, huh? Because you had to have a bath. Because what did you do? Linda, what did your sister do? Did you kill a baby bunny rabbit in the garden this morning? Okay, so what am I going to do with this video? Let me explain. I'm just going to throw together a bunch of tips today. My day started at 5 a.m. this morning. I was online answering emails to work with some overseas clients. I had to deal with some issues over at the warehouse. I got up, I actually raked the dew off the front yard. I got the weed eater, and I went over, I trimmed Barb's yard. I had a whole bunch, I was soaking wet by like 9:30. Sun came over, cut the front, then started doing trimming work. The good witch is here, coming over, doing all the work in the vegetable garden. I got some video on that. So, and then what I figured I'd do is I ran around and just put together a bunch of quick tips on reel mowing, stuff around the yard. If you want to watch it, that's all I did today. There really is no message other than here's a bunch of tips and here's what we did today. Let's put a video
Morning.
together. I'm really not here to make a video today, to be honest. We have a ton of work to do. I have the good witch is going to come over and help out with the gardens. I need I got a tiny bit of fungus showing up on some of the plants. I want her to go through there. I want her to start tying up these tomato plants. Ryan's gonna come over. We're gonna probably double cut the front. And what else we gotta do? I need to go treat Barb's lawn with backpack sprayer and a fungicide probably. She's got a lot of dollar spot over there. We've got a bunch of cleanup work to do. I just got a long list, and so I asked Ryan was supposed to come over, and I asked the good witch to come over and work on the gardens because we don't have time. That's going to take probably a good 2 hours just to go in there. So I'm out here early today, and this is the time I like to water my gardens. I like to water them in the morning. That way they have the moisture for the heat of the day, and then they can sort of dry out a little bit before the night. All I'm doing is I'll just take one of my hose end spray bottles, and I will probably just add, I would say one of these little micro packs is probably enough. I guess it helps to have it on camera, huh? It almost is like a dust. There's a little bit of dry molasses in here too. I think I'm gonna put two. I'm gonna put two because I've got all these gardens in here. Now let me explain what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run along the base of the gardens and just hit it. So I'm implanting these good fungus spores, which don't exist, into the soil. Then I'm going to go back and water and drive them down deeper. Probably these dirt booster compost piles, they're ready in about 48 hours. They're get nice and warm and full of fungus. And then what we'll do is we'll probably go through and just apply a light coat around the plants and actually put them on the zinnias and the flowers and all around especially any plants and potted plants. It's great for potted plants. Any of my potted plants, they just, they have that real small environment of a pot and you just don't have a good ecosystem. Well, you add this good fungus into it and it really helps. That's it. That's all I'm doing. So I'll go through and I'll just hit each bed like this. Just a little shot of this, and then I'll come back and I'll water it in. Okay, so one of the things we're doing out here, a lot of people ask about my knockouts. And honestly, I just go through once in a while and we just round them off at this time of year. We cut them pretty hard. We don't go in and hand prune them. It's just too much time. I just took a regular shear clipper and we just sort of round them off and knock them down. Otherwise, they just grow too crazy. We're gonna cut this bush down hard. That thing needs to go. Eventually, this huge thing here, I may come in here honestly with a chainsaw like I'd done before with it and just cut it down to about 3 feet. I'm tired of that thing. So Good Witch showed up. So she's got garden duty today. She's got the patience of Job when it comes to gardens. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick her in the garden and just spend, I've talked about this before, but you really have to spend quality time with your tomatoes and your plants. You just got to sit in front of a plant sometimes and you just got to sort of work it. I mean, you just got to go plant, look, sit there and look, take out every little bit of fungus that's on it and prevent it, tie it up. And that's what she's really good at. So that's her job today. Ryan's here. He already cut the front. He's working on bushes. He's working on cleanup. I went over and trimmed barbs. We got a bunch of stuff we're doing today. So let me just run down what I want you to do. I'm trying to make sure we're on camera here. Basically, I told Ryan, I said, you grab a bucket, you sit in front of a plant, and you stare at it. And you'll eventually start to see inside of that plant, and you'll start to see a stem that has yellow leaves and brown spots and start to have fungus. And actually Ryan just raked up a bunch here. So the other day I was out here doing that, and that's what I want her to do. I want her to focus on, we've done so well with fungus this year.
Really have. It's been night and day.
Yeah, compared to last year. So she's gonna get ahead stay ahead of that. She's gonna work on the fungus, and then she's gonna work on putting some more. I use this Walmart yarn, and I'm gonna have her, I've got a few plants around that just simply need to be tied up. So we'll just throw some more strings up. Let me show you. Ryan's out here and we're gonna double cut the front this morning. We had all this rain and it's so healthy. Even with the growth regulator was just put down yesterday. We need to double cut it to clean it up. I'm kind of helping him out here. Moving this baby down for him. So someone in the comments asked me a while back about when they come over their edge of their grass, because the grass is that tall and it goes down to the sidewalk, they're getting kind of a scalp mark. We get the same thing. And so what we do is, let me show you. So I'm talking about this right here. So what I want you to do, watch what he does here. So the point I was trying to make there is, when you get to the end of your curb, you got to understand what's causing that scalp. So when we come back up on the grass, we actually push down on the reel mower about 1/2 inch and hold it there as we go up. And the back wheels have a tendency to cause that little scalp. So it's just a little feel that you do is, when you get ready to come back up, just raise it up a bit. Some people will say, well, why don't you do a strip down that side, because it's uneven there, and if we run a strip down there, it'll actually leave a scar mark on the right side, so we can't do that. So just play with that little curb area. It's a pain in the butt, but you get used to it. So the other nice thing about doing diagonal, as you can see, we're getting nice long cuts. So we're going all the way up here, all the way down. And the yard looks really nice. I'm not going to complain about that. Oh, look, Doc's got lawn stripes. Oh my God. I think there's some stripes on Doc's lawn. So we're simply using grass catchers right now because this lawn is so thick and so healthy. If we didn't do this, we would just have piles of clippings on here. And I don't need it. I got good thatch. Everything is great. Just take it off. But I want to show you the clippings. Lawnmower clipping pile. Reason being is look at the height of the clippings. Okay. So the clipping size is just absolutely perfect. And the color of this stuff is just absolutely amazing. Look how dark blue-green that is. It is just absolutely gorgeous. Even like if I put it up against that yellow, you can really see it, just how healthy that is. It's absolutely amazing. It's gorgeous. So, a couple of people have asked about my rose of Sharon bush here. I call it a fake hibiscus. It started off real tiny, and over the years it's grown. And this is not what an agronomist is going to tell you to do, or not an arborist, excuse me. An arborist is not going to tell you to do this. I'm telling you what I do, what I've learned to do over the years. I prune mine really hard. So earlier this year, it was solid green and bushy. We took all the green off the bottom, number one. Number two, last week we came out here and we cut off 50% of the main large stems. Today, I'm going in here and I'm cutting even more of the smaller stems that cause it, the weight of it. When they get this big and they get this full, you get a thunderstorm and they can actually snap and bend over. I really don't have an option. So if I see a real crowded area like this, I might go in and cut this off. So what I'm trying to do here, as I've said with other plants, is to give each sort of branch its own space. When I see overlapping stuff, I'm thinning that out. I do the same thing with my maple, Japanese maple. I cut the living crap out of it. It looks great this year. Same thing with these. Just go in and look for real heavy areas, stuff that's causing it to lean, and just start cutting. I mean, I don't know how you can kill these things, because I sure can't. But clean up the lower stuff and go in and start take out select big branches that are all clustered. Once you got that opened up, then go down to the individual branches and just start leaving a little bit more air. And let me tell you what, it just has a much better, the air can flow through it. A storm comes by, it really doesn't bother it. Just give it a clip and just open it up. So let me give you a tip on these wild gardens over here. If you try and build something structural and trying to make sense, these things don't follow sense. They just grow crazy. So what we do, I told you before, we buy these iron gates. Now I've had these things last forever. I've had some of these for 5 years. And what I do is anytime I see something weird happening, I go up under the plant, lift it, and push it in the ground. Now the reason why we don't connect these, you can connect these and make a solid, is because like over here, this plant started falling over that way. So we went in today, we pulled that area up. This plant started going a different way. These are great little grates. You can just go day by day. You can move them and adjust them based on what your actual garden does. Because these zinnia, this wildflower and zinnia garden, I mean, they just get crazy. So let me give you another tip here today. If you have these palm trees out here, go down. Now, we couldn't see the bottom of these trees last week. Ryan came out here and I told him take all the bottom branches off and just leave about a handful at the top. So you can see now it actually looks like a palm tree. And that's how you clean these palms up. So you take all the bottom off and just leave a little bit of green on the top. So if you know about the green, I finally have germination at day 5, surprisingly. Day 5, the Bermuda, I can see tiny 1/8 of an inch little green in here, starting to germinate. My banana plant. So my banana plant is huge every year. We went in here, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I have a video clip of this or not. I had Ryan go out and take all the lower branches out and leaves out and open it up. It gives it a much more, aesthetically, it looks a lot better. But I would also come in, as an example, and I would cut these small pieces out and leave more of just the big branches in here. If I see any rotting leaves or anything like this, I'm going to take the bad leaves out. And it just gives me a real nice shape. Aesthetically, I can see the stalk, and that's really what you want in these palms and these plants like this. You want to see a stalk, and then you want to see a leaf. You just don't want to see a big pile of leaves. It's kind of ugly. She will probably be out here. How long do you think it'll take you to do all the gardens?
Well, let's see. When did I get here? What time is it now? I don't know.
I'm betting
I've gotten this far.
I think probably 3-4 hours. That's what it's going to take. And that's the time where you sort of sit with that plant and you learn to relate to each plant personally. And you get to know each plant, and you go in and you look at the stems and you look at the leaves and you clean it up. And then you sort of look at the structure of it and say, does it need to be tied up? Do I need to do something? So spending quiet time away from Doc with your plants is so important. I can't stress that enough. Especially with tomato plants, just that extra little bit of care. I would say, Jess, let me ask you, I would say our experiment with the multiculture, planting clovers, grasses, and flowers and just letting it go wild, I would say it was a success.
Me too. I'd say it's been a phenomenal success.
And a lot of people look at this garden and they'll say, man, that looks like crap. You need to clean that up. This is what nature would do. Nature would just have all these weeds and wildflowers growing, and they would all be competing, and different bugs would come in. The predator bugs will come in and eat the bad bugs. The birds come in here all the time. The bees are just loaded in here. If you watch yesterday's video, I showed you my granddaughter in here trying to pick tomatoes with all the bees. It was cute as heck. It's just loaded with bees, little fungus. Again, the adding in the dirt booster, I think in a minute here, I'm getting ready to make one more pile of that just so I can have it ready. I really want to put some more around on my flowers, but I'm putting the dirt booster compost on the banana trees, all my flowers, and my vegetable gardens everywhere, putting it all around. It works really well. I'll tell you one thing that shocks me is how much green foliage. It's just absolutely low with solid green foliage, and there's almost no fungus. That's shocking to me. You know this garden. She's worked this garden for what, almost 2 years now?
Yeah.
And by now, every single one of these plants would...
Yeah. We would have had our first big harvest and totaled everything, ripped everything out. They would have all been dead.
And started to replant. That's what we did last year. Last year we had to come through here. We ripped out the entire garden. We replanted. It was probably about the end of July, I would think.
It was around then.
That we just ended up, we said, screw it, let's just go ahead and just plant. Let's plant again. And we got a second crop using dirt booster, of course. Actually, I think we were mixing dirt booster and chicken feed compost in at that point.
And those got like as tall as the sticks we have on the side.
Yeah, they'll get up.
I'm super excited to see how tall these get by the end of the year.
Yeah, they're going to be crazy. I have a feeling we'll probably, with as hot and as humid as it is and as little air movement, I have a feeling probably within a month or so we'll probably have some fungus move in here. I can't see these things survive the whole day. I'll be shocked.
My first goal was to kind of go in and trim out anything that looks sad. Anything that looks fungused, spotty, extremely droopy and thin, may have already been slightly snapped. And I want to take all that out and really get it nice and healthy in here. So, the best part about pruning tomatoes is you end up smelling like a tomato plant all day. I absolutely love it. I smell like I could be put on a pizza, and that's phenomenal.
If you're real mowing, The real mowers are designed to follow the ground. Keep your hands from putting weight down on them. That's why a lot of times I try and train people to actually do, instead of like this and grip, actually put your hands backwards so that you're not pushing down. Because as that mower goes, let me give you an example. As that mower front goes up and down and follows, if you're putting weight on this counter lever back here, it's not going to want to go down. So you basically just allow the weight of the unit to go. Sometimes I try to show an example, just one hand, as long as you can keep it on track. The groove rollers keep it on track a little bit better than the smooth rollers. But again, we're just trying to keep it so that we barely have any weight on that handle. Ryan doesn't like to do this. When he gets to an end of a run, he'll pull this wheel up and then the unit just turns very freely. That's what most people do. The other thing you can do is, instead of pulling this wheel up, is just sort of feather this a little bit and it'll turn the unit. And what eventually you'll get to the point on this, that when you get to the end of a run, you can sort of feather, and you can go almost without stopping. And it's kind of hard for me to do it. It's kind of hard for me to do it here because of the pull. So Junior's accusing me of harassment because I have a pet peeve. And what's my pet peeve?
Leaving this in the sun.
Leaving what?
Lithium batteries.
Leaving lithium batteries in the sun and letting them get hot.
I was on my way to come get it.
Lithium batteries hate to be hot. And every time he sees me move it, he was across the yard. He was like, dude, I know you're going to say, shut up. I just don't leave lithium. Another tip. Don't leave lithium batteries in the sun. They do not like to be hot. Matter of fact, you'll even get a warning light sometimes on there, and they'll tell you it's too hot. So don't leave it in the sun.
Putting it back in the sun.
Ass. Ryan, I will say, remember how these looked like a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
I mean, and what I did was all I did was just throw in a bunch of dirt booster on those, and now all of a sudden, yeah, they've doubled in size, and now all of a sudden they've got flowers on them. I've done nothing but dirt booster compost in there.
Yeah, they're a lot thicker.
Man, look at all those bees. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, look at that cloud. That looks like a rain cloud. Okay, so this tree back here, call it my bee tree. I really need to trim this thing, but look at how full this thing will just get absolutely packed with bees, and that's why I let it grow kind of crazy. I'll bet you there's probably 400 bees, at least 500 or more on this one tree right here. Isn't that crazy? Anyone's going to ask me about those or not, but let me tell you what they are. Someone had asked about rainfall totals, and so I decided to go ahead and get 2 wireless rainfall gauges and test them out for you guys. So I'll be doing that video here probably in the next couple days. So it's the next morning, and we've had an incident in the family. I knew this was going to happen. So Since we've created this wonderful ecological system out here, we have all kinds of wildlife. We have birds, we have bunnies and chipmunks and well, guess who hates chipmunks and bunnies and my Jack Russell. Jack Russells are killing machines. If it's a lizard, it's dead. Snake, dead. So we said, I told my wife yesterday, I said, there's no way she's going to catch a rabbit because she's too fat. Well, this morning we came out and I couldn't find her, and she was covered in mud and covered in green and just crazy. And sure enough, I looked down and there was a small bunny rabbit. She finally got one. So she had to get a bath. Let me show you what happened. Hey, tell everybody why you're soaking wet, huh? Because you had to have a bath. Because what did you do, Linda? What did your sister do? Did you kill a baby bunny rabbit in the garden this morning? Yes, you're a Jack Russell, and that's what I do. You finally got one of those rabbits. That is not nice. Not nice. That is not nice. So, God almighty. Oh well. If you want, if someone says, how do I get rid of rabbits in my yard? I tell them all the time, the only way to do it is get yourself a Jack Russell. So, anyway. So this is the next morning we're out here, and I got to tell you, man, the garden just looks phenomenal. I'm just really digging this multiculture that we're doing in here. We have had 100% humidity just nonstop for weeks here. It's already almost 90 degrees and it's 9:30 this morning. But this stuff just looks phenomenal. By the way, if you don't have the Bermuda Lawn Guide, make sure you get that Bermuda Lawn Guide, hit subscribe. And let me show you the green. Then we came in and I showed you, we actually used a scarifier and a core aerator back here on the green and tore this whole thing up and reseeded. And basically what I've been doing is, prior to the germination, I've been using my leveling rake every couple days and just hitting this leveling wise. But what you can see, just shade it out so you can see it. So that is what Bermuda looks like when it's germinating right there. A lot of people don't know what it looks like, but that's it right there. Germinating Bermuda. You can see it right there. All germinating. Now we put a crap load of seed out here, as you can tell. So what we're doing is we've seeded this just with an Arden 15, the same thing we're doing here. We'll let this come up and establish in Bermuda, and then we'll probably put like a little, once the weather cools down in the fall, so when temperatures start to get cold, we'll probably come back here and do an overseed and a bent, and that'll actually keep it alive. It'll keep it green probably all the way through the winter time, close to. So anyways, that was our long day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Doc.